Good afternoon, my friends. It is Officer Store here today with Slavic Comrade Kit. Slavic, hello. He is currently making love with Sook. Alright, lads. Crazy day. Where do we start? We'll switch things up. This guy. For those that are not aware, that sock, contrary to popular belief, is not filled with baby gravy, but rather catnip, and makes great toy for little pretty Slavic cat over here, and his comrade analogy. I'm just making up words. All right. Start with AMC, because this is kind of an important one. And cue the manics and the zealots who are gonna spam the comment section over. It's always been important. So I am bullish. I haven't been for a while. Wait for it. Yes. That's how you know. And the reason is been related to fundamentals. Excuse me. And since I think since the failed pounce, which for those that recall, because evidently continuity of character and of claims or sentiment or any of that has always been ignored by most people that are in this like niche sector of finance related content. Back in August, or was it mid-July? I think it was mid-July. I had said if the pounce isn't an actual pounce, then I'm giving up as far as the fundamentals go. Like, I don't want anything to do with that particular stock at a fundamental level. Slavic Comrade Cat, what are you do? Do we have a problem? Is there something you would like to say? What is your deal? Go on. And sorry, I know some people don't like to listen to the rant and they just want to know when moon. And to those that are like that and are impatient, go fuck yourself. When it comes to fundamentals, that's where I started to fade away in terms of any care. The technicals I still care about because I still think there's going to be a squeeze that happens of some sort, but the fundamentals is where things started to taper. And for those that are not aware, there was a headline that came out last week that stated that Amazon would be investing up to $1 billion a year across physical, real-life cinemas. And when that hit, I'll see if I can find the candle. I can still vividly remember, yeah, it was right here, it was on Wednesday, right before noon. There was this candle, and this pushed it. Wait, was this the candle? 6%? That sounds right. Yeah, so evidently that was a 6% jump from that headline. And I can still vividly remember the price action. Like, it was animated. Like, you could actually see the ticker moving fluidly and not like just jumping around within a 10 basis point range. And that really caught my attention. And so with that in mind, and I hate that I'm going to say it like this, because this is 9 times out of 10 what people who try to look back with the retrospective wisdom do. I was truly starting to wonder, why hasn't someone like Amazon or Disney or any blue chip company that has focused a lot of their efforts into cinema based content, why haven't they stepped to the plate yet and bought out or at least invested into the perfect avenue for what is starting to occupy a lot of the revenue share of these companies. And so I started to theorize about a couple months ago that Amazon would be looking to start buying in to either Cinemark or AMC. And I hate that I'm saying it now, because this is where it's like, oh yeah, of course you were. That's, and honestly, if that's what people are going to think, I don't blame you. It's a really like myopic thing to come out and just say like, yeah, look, I knew this was coming. I didn't know it was coming, but that was definitely on my mind, and I just want to make that clear. And that has shifted my fundamental perspective of this quite a bit. So here we are, 6 minutes into the video, and the technicals are looking really good. And I think that this is actually, I think this could be the start of an actual squeeze. Cheers to that. And so there is nothing scarier to someone who holds a position that is bearish on a company that already has a very high short interest, like 35, 40, 45%, that evidently somewhere has a lot of retail shareholders, that has already been kind of slammed back down to the ground after some time. There's nothing scarier than when you have headlines that are coming out from one of the top 10 blue chips that exist out of all of the markets. You have Amazon, albeit they're down like 50% or whatever it is over the past 6 months. But still, that's Amazon that's starting to say, yeah, we're taking interest in this and we will be investing. And another thing that people forget is if you look at the market cap of AMC, it's $3.8 billion. And looking at what Cinemark is going through, where they had filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy a month and a half ago or a month ago, unfortunately, I want to say that there's a good chance that Amazon might start looking at buying that up first because it's heavily discounted. But at the same time, if AMC beats Amazon to the punch and actually absorbs Cinemark's assets and locations and so on and so forth, then Amazon would eventually be buying it from AMC or investing whatever it is. It doesn't have to be actual acquisition. So with that in mind, I'm starting to flip extremely bullish, more so than I've ever been, and not in the sense that like, this is the most hyped I've ever been, but I mean out of everything I've learned since the times where I was the most hyped up, I have what I think is, a naive form of wisdom that now I can apply to this, and I think that there is a very significant chance that things will start to move up very quickly and very rapidly. The only thing that I'm afraid of is if this thing does squeeze before any form of acquisition or investment takes place, then Amazon would probably opt more for Cinemark's assets and balance sheet. Because if this thing goes to whatever it is, whatever price target you have, basically whatever is above fundamental value, it makes no sense for someone like Amazon to do any form of equity purchasing. Now, if it's investing into the company, not directly through equity, but rather through licensing or any form of anything along the lines of like abstract equity. It's the best I can come up with right now. Anything that isn't actual shares of stock being bought, then there's still opportunity, even if AMC does, exceed fundamental value. So yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more about AMC, Entertainment Holdings, and no ape. Ape is stupid. Ape is just outright backdoor dilution. Ever like the earnings call that I live streamed, I said after the moment it came out of Adam Aron's mouth, I said this is backdoor dilution. This makes no sense, and this is terrible. This is not what the shareholders deserve, and rightfully so, as it is down 83% since its pseudo IPO. So yeah, no ape. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to tell you what to buy or what to sell or what to this or that. Never have been, never will. If I were, though, I would be telling you, don't fucking buy this dog shit. This is stupid. All right, let's get into the analysis as Comrade Slavic Cat begins to make a little bit of fun time, a little sexy time with Sulk. 10.5 minutes in, we are finally getting to the charts. All right. Well, isn't this crazy? Could you imagine? The Snippy Snipe does it again. The pixel perfect bounce off of accumulation back here. To then another pixel perfect bounce off of accumulation here. TA doesn't work. It's corruption. This is a great sign. This is a really great sign. I mean, just look at Slavic Cabinet Kids. He is very happy. Very, very happy to see this. What the hell? There we go. It does it again. The 30-minute. 30 minutes about to flip green on the MACD, FYI. Still kind of in the middle of no man's land in terms of the Snippy Snipe regions on the 30-minute. But we did see this rejection off of the 30 last Wednesday, which also happened to be, I think, a 4-hour trigger. No, but close to. So this would be our next target in terms of like a potential resistance, which ironically enough sits at $8 up here. The next thing that I would want to address is regular trading hours. We're pushing against distribution on the 1 hour. And the last time this happened, this resulted in an 11.5% move where it successfully broke out. There was follow through and there was volume. So there is an 11% potential here, you know, give or take, to when this breakout occurs. And this accumulation line hasn't really been touched down here on the 1 hour, which kind of concerns me because normally you want to see a touch off of this and then a go, aka a touch and go. But because we're pushing against this on distribution so much and we haven't had any time to actually make contact with that accumulation, I'm not sure what to think of it other than there has to be an explosive impulse up that would have to sustain, right? And then accumulation would go chasing it. And then we'd bounce. Otherwise, if it doesn't get that impulse, what's probably going to happen is that this thing's going to keep slowly melting up and then get slapped and then fall through accumulation rather than bouncing off of it. You know, things that move up as well as things that move down, but especially in the instance of moving up, have to have time where it can peacefully you know, go down and not result in some form of cataclysmic event within that local range, and or sustain sideways at a new level that would, you know, typically be considered resistance, but then show enough support that it catches and proceeds back up, aka reaccumulation. But not on the 30-minute, not on the 1 hour, and not even on the on the 15-minute. Actually, it is doing that. This is what I mean. So this is a good sign. See how it didn't actually like fall through, right? We had this impulse up that was like 50-some%. You know, 50, 60%. I can't even. It's too big. 64%, right? Called that out, by the way. And then rather than just getting slapped and sent back down to the depths of hell, it had a slow, controlled burn back down. And then that was ample time where it went sideways and accumulated, didn't go down, or didn't get slapped, had ample time to let that accumulation band come up and visit it, and that accumulation band ended up being the little trampoline that it needed for a spring, and that's what it got. And it looks like it's trying to do it again. If it doesn't actually follow through, though, this is going back to 640. Plain and simple. And that would be a 13.5% decline. And that, if we were to look at this as a form of accumulation, as an accumulation schematic, that looks pretty tangible. Going into tomorrow, this is either going to rip or dip. I'm opting for the former. We have a triple cluster of distribution on the 15-minute, another triple on the 30-minute, a double on the 1 hour, and then it looks like, a single on the 4 hour. And we also caught accumulation on the 4 hour. So that's a great sign. And then on the daily, we touched off of accumulation. And these white lines are center of gravity. It's a new feature. It's not released yet for the Snippy Snipe. And this is what you can think of as the midpoint between accumulation and distribution. It has some other little nuances added, so it's not just that. But these are very important levels as well. And then on the 5-minute, we're squeezing on the 5-minute. Not short squeeze, not moaz, but quite literally squeezing from accumulation, aka the blue lines, and distribution. We are starting that process right now. You can see the local distribution layer taking place, and then the triple accumulation below it. So that is a fantastic sign. This is a very typical pattern that you can see. Here's another example where it literally squeezed. We got walked down off of distribution here. Let me see if I can clean this up a little bit. Which one is it? There we go. So got walked down off of distribution up here, caught at accumulation, and then started to get rejected off of distribution, but then quickly the following day broke out of it and then continued to conquer it. So looks like we have the same instance happening again. It does look a little top heavy, but nonetheless, it looks good. Local support on the 1 hour sitting at $7. So it's looking good for tomorrow IMO. And because we're 18.5 minutes into just one ticker, let's move forward. The S&P currently up 1/3% on futures. This was a wild day. Let's take a look at SPY. This was a really wild day. So I'm an idiot because this was like a staple example of when to go short, when to buy puts, which is this right here on the 5-minute and every other time frame. The 1 hour especially, we had this rising wedge, sort of a pennant thing. The volume was decreasing, and more importantly, the distribution lines were clustered up, and we weren't actually getting away from them by going up. It was just starting to kind of boil over, and that's exactly what happened here. Try that again. Here and then here. It was a gimme. It was a gimme, and I wasn't even looking at it. So today we closed down 1.6% and hit a low of like 1.8%, I think. But the 5-minute especially, this was just, it doesn't get easier than this. And I'm an idiot. Triple cluster on the 5-minute that we never broke out of, and then we opened below the 200 of the Wyckoff Snippy Snipe. and continue to just get rejected and rejected. These were 2 VWAP tests that took place actually. If you were to add VWAP to your chart. And every time we tried to break out of accumulation, we just got dragged right back down. And this happened 3 times. The second time would have been enough, but right here, we caught, and then it got pulled under, broke out again, pulled under, and then again, and that was the telltale. There were so many symptoms showing that this was going to continue going down, and my dumbass didn't do anything about it. Yeah, even the 1 minute, pretty clean cut example of that. So, going into tomorrow, I think we do see a little intermittent bounce. Depending on what the Fed does going into December with rate hikes, if it's a 50 basis point move, then this is going to go back to 420, 430. If it's 75 to 100, then going way down. I want to say the top is in for this current leg, and we'll see a form of reaccumulation take place down at 380 to 385. We did catch at the distribution on the daily. We technically closed under it, but going into close, it was the last 15 seconds of the trading session, we were actually above distribution on the daily, and then it just got slapped a little bit going into those last 10 to 5 seconds or 5 to 10 seconds. So I'm going to consider this a close above, which hopefully I don't regret saying. So I want to say that this is bullish. Intermittently speaking, this is still going to go down to 380 to 385. So I ended up buying some cows that expire tomorrow between 398 to 402. And I think we'll see a gap up take place. But as far as that, we do have this trend line that is trying to hold. I definitely think it's going to break, and then we'll catch down to here, sitting at, I can, where did this go? Where's the path? There's a path tool. Where is it? What? There it is. I think we'll see a revisit up to 400. Test this, and then something like this. No! Every time. So we'll break back up into this trend line that you see, and break below it, catch the following trend line, and then break below it, and we'll see that 380 range. Pretty head and shouldery, I think, knees and toes potentially, and ultimately probably catch this macro trend line right here as well. And as far as what the Snippy Snipe is seeing on the daily, we're catching at that distribution. I think it won't last long though. And then the closest thing to that afterward is sitting at 380 on the daily, and that is accumulation. The 4-hour nearest level is 384, 385-ish. Distribution sitting up at 416. If we drop to the 1-hour, this will be the killjoy zone. This bold red line, which is sitting at 391. That's probably where you'll see a bounce take place. We'll extrapolate that real quick. And these two intersect at about 9:30, so market open on Wednesday. That's where we would see a bounce, and that's also when Jay Powell talks, if I recall correctly. Yeah, this line, once it falls into this, it's going to be a bad time. But in general, I think we see a little bit of local bullishness and then quickly get rejected and pulled down, probably from a headline that hasn't even happened yet. Yeah. The 30-minute accumulation setting at 393 and 389. So that's kind of setting up for a double cluster to have a fall through happen. The 15-minute, we tried breaking out of the 15-minute accumulation going into close, and then the 5 minutes pretty much same thing. So yeah, Jimbo, pretty much the same thing as AMC, I think. Looking good though. I think this has been a lot of accumulation, but if it doesn't break out of this range soon, it's not going to be good. It really needs to get out of this and break out up to, you know, the 30s. It has to, or this is going to continue declining. I don't even. Yeah, we don't have accumulation at a macro level other than at 2332. So this has to break up soon, and we're close to forming a true triple cluster on the daily, which will be January 2.0 IMO. So yeah, I just realized this is almost a 30-minute video. I'm gonna finish my beer and go the shizzle to bed. Leave a like, sub, comment, fondle, the usual. Say hello to Slavic Cat for me in the comment section. See you guys tomorrow. Good luck, don't die, and stay black.